All right, welcome back. Here we are. We're in the lecture for Module 6. So I'm not going to make this a super long video. It's not going to be a long lecture. I provided this chapter as kind of preliminary reading in Module 5. It's the text tied to or associated with Module 6. We're going to walk through it. At this point, most of this should be a rehash, things that we've talked about before, you've watched a video that covered it before, you've read about it before. With that said, this module is where we are going through and applying data mining or machine learning. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this module, but it's not programming. We're taking these concepts of machine learning and we're walking through them using Orange, code-free. I'll talk about that at the end of, excuse me, talk about that at the end of this video. Okay, so with that said, let's jump down through some of the things we've got going on here. Now, machine learning is our ability to use the system to make predictions. That's commonly what we're going to do. Make predictions. Predict what somebody could do, should do, would do, whatever it may be. And we use statistics to do this. Math and statistics. A lot of computer logic, and this is a component of AI. And we talked about the different types of machine learning, whether it's supervised machine learning or unsupervised. And as we get into unsupervised, then we're jumping into deep learning. But it all builds on statistics, and we deal with standard deviation, the normal distribution, all statistical aspects. I'm not digging deep into this because that's not what this course is about, but I want you to understand the basics of statistics and how that comes into play with what we're doing. So let's say I had 100 students and I measured their IQ, all of them, and their IQ would range from, say, around 50 to 150. And the majority of them averaged about 100. And this is what we call the bell curve. And ultimately, when we look at statistics, we can say, I can predict that a specific percentage of the students will fall between these numbers. Now, why is that important? Well, when I'm trying to predict what a student's IQ is, I know that it's not likely it's going to be over here. It's more likely it's going to be between, say, 85 and 115. Most of them are going to be right in here. These are going to be the ones we don't see so much. These are going to be the ones we don't see so much. So statistics matter when we're trying to predict. We dig into different courses, we get deeper into statistics, an actual course in statistics. You get a better understanding of how this works. We've got descriptive statistics that come into play. Bayes' theorem is descriptive statistics. We've got correlation. Is there a relationship between two things? Now, we talked in previous modules about features, what a feature is. When we think about that iris data set, and sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width, those are features. are there correlations between two features when it comes to a class of iris? And if there are, I can use that to help predict. So one of the things we look for is correlations, important features. But I've got to identify which features are important to be able to use it. The more features I have up front, the more data. But the more data I have, the more resources it's going to take to process that data, whether it's memory or processing capacity. So what can you do with machine learning? We talked about classification, well, predictive maintenance, recruiting employees, customer experience. There are companies that actually use AI, machine learning, to scan resumes to determine, are you the one for the job? They've identified features that they find important. And based on those features, they classify you as potential employee. Yeah, no, don't mess with that one. How you word things makes a difference. And we'll talk more about that when we deal with the ChatGPT and things like that. How you word your prompt makes a difference. Customer satisfaction, finance, predicting where the stock market's going to be. Customer service, getting feedback. We've automated so much. Dating, online dating sites. We'll find a match for you. All these different things are machine learning. We talked about the machine learning process. So we get our data, find out what the problem is first, and we get our data in order, get it all sorted out, cleaned up, find out what model, train the model, evaluate the model, and fine tune it, and then we deploy it. Now this fine tuning it means we go back through the process again, and over time we learn based on the hyperparameters that I've talked about before, what was important, what worked, what helped, what made it worse, whatever it may be. Now, there are algorithms that will come into play. The model is essentially an algorithm. And algorithms, we talk about them over and over again, that they've been compared to a recipe. An algorithm is something that it's a mathematical thing in many examples. What's the math that it would take to do the MSE? We talked about that in the last module. So there's math calculations to determine accuracy, or how these things work. How effective is it? How reliable is it? So with that said, we've got supervised learning, we've got unsupervised learning, and we've covered that in the last module. This is just reinforcing it and getting a little deeper into it. You don't have to jump neck deep into machine learning, but there's a lot of information here if you want to immerse yourself in it. Okay? I'd rather have a lot of information and some information that you may not necessarily need to use than not enough information for you. Okay. Now, reinforcement learning, it's something we're not going to necessarily use in this course, but essentially it's a trial and error. And if it worked, all right, let's keep doing that. And if it didn't work, let's not do it that way. And our adjustments will be made based on previous experience. So previous experience will help us moving forward. That's what this reinforcement is. The positive and negatives, the trial and error along the way, reinforces the learning process. So there's back and forth. And there is some form of learning, a learning model that is semi-supervised, where some of the values are known, but not much. It's not something that we see a lot, but it is a type. Different algorithms that we may use, and it's the process or the type of model that we're using. So we've got machine learning, that's the overreaching umbrella. And from there you have either supervised or unsupervised. Unsupervised, we kind of group things together, and then we've got k-means clustering. Supervised, I can do classification or regression. Different types of classifications, different types of regression. Now we see k-means clustering, k-nearest, similar but not the same. Okay, one's clustering, one's classification. Okay. So we've got different types of classifiers that over time we learn that, oh, this model, this is really accurate when I'm doing something simple or this type of model. And there's 3 different variations of the naive Bayes classifier: Bernoulli, multinomial, and the Gaussian. Each one works better in certain scenarios. So over time we learn which one to use, and we'll learn that in another course. But like I said, this is the overreaching. We look at the big picture. Okay. So with that said, we've got all kinds of features and different types of classification. We've talked about k-nearest neighbor when it came to classification. We'll talk about linear regression possibly in a future module. And I showed an example of decision trees. Okay, so that's about all we need to cover when it comes to this chapter. All right. So what we've got, let me jump over here. The reading, I gave you preemptive in Module 5. That's what we just covered. Lectures where we're at now. I'm going to jump into resources. Let's look at that real quick. Now, in resources, I may have another lecture for you on data collection and enhancement. All right. Here's a link to download Orange, which is what you're going to use in the Programming in Orange code-free assignment. You've got a little project to do. And this will take you to the first video in the playlist, and here's a link to the playlist. This is great. They're all short, but this is created by Orange, kind of telling you what's what. And if I click this and we'll open that window up, you'll see the list. Here's the list. Okay. They've got a number of different videos associated with Orange. Just want you to go look at the first one. You can look at the second, third, or fourth. Go through a few of them, but they're all short, 3-4 minutes. As we come down through this right here, Orange Assignment Playlist. Pop that open. This is important. this is going to be the one you use for the assignment in this module. We talked about supervised learning in the last one. So go through and watch this. Watch this one too. You know what? Watch all of them so that you're ready for this one. You're going to have another assignment based on this unsupervised walkthrough. Okay? So here's a roadmap walking you through what machine learning is, and here's a roadmap itself, mapping it all out. It's a mind map, if you will. What do I need to do if I want to learn more about machine learning? And this is where I said I got more in here than you need. This is a great way for you to go look at the difference between watching the video and the mind map that goes along with it. What resources are out there to help me learn more about machine learning? I've got an entire course on machine learning in the AI degree program. So it's great prep for it. As I said, I strongly suggest you watch videos 2 through 5 when it comes to the project for this module. Come back. Here's that project. I've also got a discussion and a reflection in here. So if I jump into this one, you're going to go through, you're going to watch this video. Install Orange before you do it. Once you've got Orange installed, go through step by step what happens in the video. You can pause, go back, pause, and go back as needed. But in the video, you'll see down at the bottom, there'll be a timestamp. 3 minutes and 4 seconds. It's only 8 minutes long. As the video goes through, you're doing what they do in the video. You've got the software. I'm going to walk you through how to go about doing it. Step by step by step. Okay. You're going to do everything that they do. It's not complicated. It's just a matter of going through the motions and getting familiar with Orange and seeing the different tools and widgets available to you. There's a total of 5 different screenshots. You're going to submit a PDF, 5 different screenshots. The name of the PDF should include CAI1001 along with your last name. So CAI1001 Jones, Module 6, or CLO3. That part doesn't matter because you're going to submit it to this assignment. You would come down and submit down below. And there's a rubric that goes along with it. 20 points for each of those screenshots. You're going to install and open Orange. Grab a screenshot. Paste the screenshot in Word. Do it for this next one, do it for the next one, do it for the next one, do it for the last one. Pasting. So you should have 5 screenshots in that Word document. When you go to save the Word document, save it as a PDF. Submit it. Okay? That's it. It's pretty short and straightforward. But we're applying the concepts that we've talked about in a code-free environment. Okay? You get into future courses, you'll do the same thing, but you'll do it in coding and actually write the code to make these things happen. Okay? So, with that said, I think that got us everywhere we needed to be for this lecture. And I may throw another one down below for that Intel info that I've got there for you.